All right. So this review is obviously a 1-star review for 1-800-Flowers.com from Trustpilot. It is written by Marco F.
Okay.
The subject is first wedding anniversary on T-U-E, like Tuesday. Okay. First line. First wedding anniversary on Tuesday. Ordered a plant, roses, mixed pink and yellow, symbol of union of the two hearts, complemente with 2 heart-shaped bamboo. The Friday night they call me saying the order is not available for delivery. Really? Waiting Friday to tell me that? I write 2 emails that night asking to cancel the order. The order is not canceled. Saturday morning. I keep emailing back and forth. They try to sell me other things instead. After, quote, 11 emails and, quote, calls, we settle for an order of 2 large rose plants, 1 yellow, 1 pink. To be sure, I email them 2 times asking for confirmation and call them once more because they are completely incapable of answering a straight question, so the emails were useless and the phone call took 15 minutes for them just to say, quote, yes, you are good, end quote. ... Fast forward to Monday evening. I receive a notification that my order was shipped and ... Guess what? ... It only contains a yellow rose plan ... Really? After all of that? 13 emails in total and 3 calls? Great. Let's call them once more ... Operator cannot find any trace of pink roses in the system. And by the way, the order of bamboos that they had canceled is actually still there for some puzzling reason. Active, but not shipped. She takes 15 minutes to figure out that a pink rose was there, and now it was not. I asked for a full refund. 10 minutes of negotiations later, I give up. She gets me a half refund and ships a pink rose plan of a different type, smaller bunch and ugly vase for the day after the anniversary, Wednesday, 17th. She offers to call my wife and personally apologize. I say, you might have to beg face to the ground for her not to eat you alive, and yet maybe sorry. I say you might have to beg face to the ground for her not to eat you alive, and yet maybe she will have eaten enough of me that she would not be able to eat anyone else. Anyways, thank you so much, 1-800-GARBAGE service. Seriously? 13 emails and 4 phone calls, and they still got it messed up. Not even one of the email nor one of the calls was conclusive or informative or straight out correct. Dear gosh, never, ever again. Do not even think about it if you care for your recipient.
Marco.
Yeah, Marco
Wait.
was just trying to do right by his wife, who's apparently going to eat him for dinner now.
I mean, I have a note about that. Like, this is for the first wedding anniversary, and
Yeah.
they're, like, speaking that disparaging about their wife's temper.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a red flag, yeah.
Wait, was it ever said up front at the very beginning when Marco placed the order? I know that they canceled it or whatever on Friday for the Tuesday delivery.
They didn't say when they placed the order, but they made it seem like the Friday before the Tuesday was really
Correct.
late for them to be contacting. So I assume it was like at least Monday. But again, that's all an assumption. I have no idea.
Because don't you feel like that is an important point? I mean, I'm wondering if it's excluded because they literally placed the order on Thursday. And then, because I feel like the local florist is going to like verify. I mean, who knows? This is all assumptions. But I just found that missing piece to be interesting.
Okay.
So
Noted.
I have never heard of this color combo having a meaning. Pink and yellow is... Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't heard of that either, but apparently it's a symbol of the union of two hearts. I
wonder what tradition that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd never heard that before reading this review either, but I do assume that that's a thing. I wonder if because they say complemente with two heart-shaped bamboo. It makes me wonder if, you know how sometimes when you go on 1-800-Flowers, they have a like collection put together, and then in the description they're like, this is the symbol of the union of two hearts. Like maybe that was their thing. I don't know, just a thought.
If that's true, that makes me even more on Marco's side.
Right.
That they're like pushing the meaning, and then it's not available, and then it is available, and it's not available, and then it is, and it's not, and you've done 15 emails.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning that way only because they talk about like the two heart-shaped bamboo thing, and then when they got the order sort of straightened out, and they're like, fine, I'll just take a rose plant. Like they
right.
You know, got it down to what they wanted. They were like, okay, don't include the stupid bamboo. I never wanted the stupid bamboo to begin with. And then they're like, and then the bamboo was still there. So the spelling and grammar's not great. I don't know if you could notice. There were a bunch of times where Marco said, you know, the yellow rose plan instead of plant.
Yes, I wrote that down.
There was also, I don't know if this was a thing that you came across in your reviews, and this, I guess, happens sometimes, but I don't know if 1-800-Flowers, I guess in this case it would be Trustpilot. I don't know if Trustpilot doesn't allow quotations, but every time they wrote a quote, it was like ampersand, QUOT. Yeah, it's really annoying.
That's so weird, right? It's across everything on Trustpilot. That's a huge flaw.
That's like crazy that would be something that is across the board and they wouldn't fix that. So I'm not gonna count that against Marco, but it did make it a little bit hard to read the grammar in those situations because, you know, I don't know how exactly they formatted that. A lot of like lowercase letters, a lot of dot, like a random amount of dots as ellipses, that kind of thing.
I do want to just point out the quote unquote ugly vase.
Yes.
I think that is so funny to me. There is something so specific about the vaseware from 1-800-Flowers. That just truly tickled me. I think that was the funniest part of the review to me because the instant I heard that, my mind perfectly painted what it would be.
What the vase will look like?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they are really ugly.
Yes, but sometimes they're all... I mean, I bet if I counted the amount of vases in our house, the majority of them are from 1-800-Flowers. So they're not always ugly, but it's just so
I
funny
always opt to do a mason jar if that's an option because I'm just like, at least... Like, yes, it's like of a certain ilk, but it won't be a heinous, ugly vase and you can drink out of it. I don't know.
I mean, I do want to say, at first when we were going into like the 11 emails, then it was like 2 more and then the calls, like I started to think like Marco might be a Karen, but then I sort of thought like, but this is like, okay, the first thing I want to point out here is that I think of 1-800-Flowers as like gifts for someone, not necessarily like for my own anniversary. Things. Like my own anniversary, I think I would go with a local florist. I feel like even when I buy flowers, like when David was acting and doing opening, I guess sometimes I would do 100, but I usually try to find a local florist.
Well, I think that this is like a rookie mistake for Marco because this is Marco's first wedding anniversary. I don't think there's any way that he would do this in the future. I think that's exactly why he's, you know, when they contacted him the Friday night Before,
Right.
he was like, just cancel the order. Because at that point, he was like, I'll go to a local florist. I'll get my
Correct.
own flowers. I don't want to have to worry about them arriving late. And then in regards to Marco being a Ken, I just think at the end of the day, the flowers arrived after the anniversary. And
Yes.
as somebody that, you know, as a review queen and my responsibility for the week being to look through the 1-star reviews, there were a lot of 1-star reviews that mentioned, you know, I had a funeral. I had an event that it was very important that the flowers arrive on time. And I knew that going in. So I planned accordingly on my end, called them, did all this stuff to make sure that things would go off without a hitch. And then they were late. This is a common theme. So
Wow.
I don't think that Marco is alone in putting his trust into 1-800-Flowers.com and then
Sure.
being disappointed. And I think that I would be very pissed if I had a particular event that I was aiming for and it arrived after that event.
Yeah, I think that ultimately I'm siding with Marco on this because it's so frustrating to not be able to just get one person that can give you the answer.
Yeah.
But I do think that part of the business model of 1-800-Flowers is that they take the order and they send it to local florists, fulfillment places. So sometimes things have to change,
yeah,
and et cetera, et cetera. But like so many things happened to Marco in this that is horrifying.
Yeah.
So that's making, and I do think that Marco is being truthful. I definitely think they like intentionally listed everything verbatim because it's truthful and so insane.
Yeah.
But now I'm wondering, I mean, you're pointing to so many of the 1-stars highlight this is pretty common, that the timeliness, and that's horrifying.
Yeah. Totally. What do we think about this last person that Marco got on the phone who offered to call the wife, you know, and
So
say and
wild.
apologize?
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think that the person meant well. It sort of reminds me, you know, so many of these customer service people. I'm trying to see if there's a date on this. Yeah. So this was 2020, which, as you know, we had a lot of problems with the mail during that time. So I don't know if COVID was a contributing factor, but I do know that a lot of these customer service representatives more than ever were like working from home, and everybody was like reaching out to everybody to try and get more customer service workers. So I've noticed in my interactions that it's really across the gamut. Like you wouldn't hear somebody say that, I don't think, if you were at a call center, but now everybody's working from home and they're just like, I'll call your wife. Email me directly. Like, I think there's a lot of boundary crossing.
I guess my question is like, why wasn't that person able to do a full refund at that point?
Right.
Like, no, I don't want you to call my wife. I want a full refund. Get real.
But yeah,
this was already an altered plan from what I originally wanted. Like, this is insane. You know?
I just wonder how much the hands of the customer service person are tied. Like, maybe they're really not allowed to do that. Like, I would think at this point, if they could do it, they would have. If they're going to go out of their way to call the wife, then if they had the jurisdiction to refund, I would assume that they would.
So, okay, how are you feeling about the impact of this review? Do you think that you'll think of 1-800-Flowers a different way from reading Marco's experience?
I mean, I have to be honest, there's another service that's similar to 1-800-Flowers. I won't like pimp them here because not an ad. I was already using them instead of 1-800-Flowers prior to this deep dive. But after reading this, it really was impactful for me. Like, and we're supposed to look at this obviously in a vacuum, but seeing the other reviews too that were of the same ilk really made me feel like, hell no, am I going to use that? I'm never going to use them. I would never recommend, my friends use them. I just think that it's too big of a risk to not be sure you're going to get something on the day, that you intend for it to get there.
That's so funny because I also have to take my bias out because I do use 1-800-Flowers.
Okay.
Did I pick this or did you?
I I think I did. I think I did.
I was going to say.
Well, because it is the top. I mean, still, I use another company, but when you think
the most
about
name recognizable.
yes,
right.
it's the most name recognizable. You know, it's the one that people think of. It's the one that's been around the longest. I mean,
Right.
did you say in the intro how long they've been around? I mean, I think as long as the internet, or probably before that, because the whole thing was
Yeah,
1-800-Flowers.
Correct.
You know?
I mean, it is funny to me because I read the 5 stars, so
Right.
I need to take that out.
Right.
And I generally have a positive experience of
Sure.
this company, but I am having an impact. And, you know,
Right.
I think I could crown this. I do want to say
Yes.
the dear gosh is so funny to me.
Yes.
Like, if we're subbing the word God for gosh,
Yes.
it's just funny to keep like dear gosh.
Dear gosh. Yes.
And then
So
1-800 garbage service is
Yes.
really funny.
I agree. I did get a chuckle. I think that Marco was going for a couple laughs, which, you know, I mean, the Eat Alive thing was a little far and made me a bit concerned about his marriage, but I did appreciate the reach for the humor.
Because you said that, I'll respond. I was going to do it in my
Yeah.
assess, but I was wondering if Marco was going so hard about the wife in order to like get that refund.
Sure.
Or if it is actual. Who knows? All right. So let's crown it. You ready to
Yes,
crown it?
I'm ready. Yes.
All right. So Chelsey and I each have our own set of 1 to 5 crown cards. And in an effort to be fair and not influenced by one another, we will simultaneously reveal our ratings.
The queens are tabulating. Total score.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. So I'm holding up 3.5 crowns. Trey is holding up 4.5 crowns. Trey, why 4.5 crowns for Marco?
Because I have a very positive experience of this company. I have had one disastrous, horrifying, appalling experience, but that's one out of many, many, many purchases.
Sure.
But so I just think the lack of being able to solve it in one communication is a huge deal breaker. The fact that it didn't even it came the day, like, no, absolutely not. So I took off a half crown because the spelling was so bad and the grammar was a problem. But other than that, I was entertained. I laughed. I think it could be. I mean, I think could be common.
Right.
I think Marco was truthful. And I think it's valuable. It might have an impression on me the next time I'm ordering. So that's why I did 4.5. Why did you do 3.5?
Yeah, maybe I was a little harsh on Marco. I mostly did it for the spelling and grammar, and I mean, some of it isn't their fault, but there was so much within the review of like the ampersand quote, you know, thing, and it was a little bit hard to read based on the way that Marco wrote it, and that was really why I took the 1.5 crowns off. I thought that there was humor here. I believed the situation, and I was impacted. So maybe I should have gone 4, but I felt 3.5 was appropriate for Marco based on just the difficulty of the read, upon first glance on the website. So that was my 3.5 for me.
I love that.
Amazing.
All right, that was fun. Wow, poor Marco. I hope that Marco and their wife.
Yes.
Well, I don't even know if it is a wife. No, it is. They said
no,
wife.
it is. They said my wife, right?
I hope that they made it to their 2nd anniversary.
I do too, and I hope that they went with a local florist.
Me too. All right. Well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will hear a completely different side of the story, a more positive version, when you hear my 5-star review.
Can't wait.
BRB.
Baby, it's